Hey everybody! Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm so excited to speak with Arthur tonight, and I'll hear all about this amazing. You said the spoken
Yes,
release
he
just
did.
recently,
Yeah,
yeah?
so he came up with a new album, an album called Recorded Poems. That's pretty much music, and he has, pretty much reciting poems through music and stuff like that. So it's exciting. And there he goes. All right. So let me get Arthur in. All right, hold on. He should pop in any minute. Uh, okay, what just happened? There he goes. All right.
All right,
Yo,
there
welcome
it
to
is.
the show, brother. How you feeling?
I don't know yet. It's been a day, so
Yeah.
that's what this is for.
That could be good. That could be
Awesome,
bad.
awesome. All right, so let's do this. So for those who are just joining now and stuff like that, welcome to the show. This little quick story about how all this came about. Arthur just released the album called Recorded Poems. Great stuff, brother. So, like, this is so different because it's like, wow, like every song you had goes with the theme of the song that you're trying to do with the beat and everything. It was sort of cool. I love what I saw. I had Bourbon Older Than You was actually one of my favorites, bro. That's awesome, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
one was written about a few years ago. I ran a small press, iron lung press, and I was printing chapbooks and things like that. And I would get manuscripts, and it was just like all these young kids talking about things that were so beyond them. Like, like everyone wanted to be Bukowski, so like they were writing about things where it's like, dude, like, you didn't live that. Like,
oh my god. Okay.
like
Oh my
that's
god.
what the point of the poem actually is. Because it was originally in chapbooks and books that I'd put out, because I've put out books before I started doing spoken.
Awesome, awesome. I had a feeling it was something to that magnitude as far as like, oh, like this, you don't know what it is. Because I always have this conversation with my wife where it's
Yeah.
all about like, these kids today does not really understand certain things. And it's like let's say I listen to certain songs, I listen to music today and I listen to music back then. I'm like, okay, like my nephew, he's only 18, but like he listens to like Depeche Mode and Led Zeppelin. I'm like, what do you know about that?
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute, you only know this because you watched the show Glee. That's the only reason why you know that. Otherwise, you would not have known that.
So that's like my daughter in Metallica.
So I hate
No,
to
you're good.
Yes, exactly.
So I hate to interrupt because there might be some people out there that might not be familiar with your spoken word or like your whole kind of inspiration behind it. So like, do you have like a specific? Obviously, I see here like punk rock perhaps is like musical inspiration. Like, you want to talk
So
about that?
I grew up that the spectrum of music that I listen to is kind of all over the place. So, my father was big into Motown and jazz, which is where the backing tracks, like why I use jazz for my backing tracks, because one, he was like my biggest supporter. So I do it in celebration of him. And two, it's more moody than if I was going to take like a Cannibal Corpse,
Mm-hmm.
instrumental and put it over poetry.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
so I grew up on that. And then as I got older, my brother got me into punk shows and hardcore shows. So he was sneaking me into CD bars to see punk bands and hardcore bands. And then I was in a metal band when I was 18 or 19. I'm 43 now. So,
Oh wow.
I was
Were you
a
a singer
singer.
or what?
And we put out an album like
Of course.
24 years ago. But so
Oh really? Can we find that? Can we find that?
it's there. But my son keeps trying to get me to play shows
Okay.
again, because he's like a huge supporter, but he's also big into all the stuff that I was into when I was his age. So it's really cool for me to relive a lot of it through him. But yeah, so I was into metal and all that stuff. And then as I got older, it was just the things, it's funny how it comes full circle, because now the things that resonate with me are like Marvin Gaye and John Coltrane and like all of that stuff. So I listened to that when I'm alone, pretty much more often than anything else. Even though I still love punk and hardcore and things like that, it's just you get to a point where it's just like, all right, like I'm old, my ears hurt, I can't do this.
You know what? It's
I'm sorry, I got to disagree.
oh god, because she's a big punk. Oh, here we go.
There's only it's kind of like the people that listen to Blink-182, right? It's the same thing with hardcore punk rock. Like, how many times are you going to write about being a kid?
This is true. Like Simple Plan, I can't listen to that. I cannot listen to Simple Plan.
Not that stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still love Alkaline Trio. Still love them, right? I have this thing. Like, I love that band. And things like that. Like, that stuff doesn't get old to me. The stuff I'm talking about is, like, the older, straight-edge hardcore. And
like you mean like Rancid or even before that?
No, I'm talking about, so there's these bands like Bold, Chain of Strength. They're all straight-edge hardcore bands, right? It was this whole, the counterculture of drinking and everything. And I was part of that for a long time. And it was just, and then I went to a reunion show, and I knew that none of the people in the band were still straight edge, but they were still doing their songs like they were. So it was almost like they were mocking themselves. Yeah. So, but stuff like that is what I can't listen to now.
Like that.
Yeah.
Things
that makes sense.
I don't know. There's certain things I just can't get into. Like Hot Water Music will always be one of my favorite bands ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw them recently. They're pretty great.
There's certain bands I will not give up.
Yeah, I feel you like that. Oh man. See, like I can listen to punk rock like from time to time, but I was more like the Germs, Black Flag, those bands because my favorite documentary was
I got that.
The kind of Western civilization, and it was.
I grew up punk and all the other stuff. So that's the kind of stuff. But Henry Rollins and Keith Morris, you don't people like that. Mm-hmm. The character in one of my novels, well, actually all of my novels, I have 3 novels, and they're short. They're like 130, 140 pages, but the main character's name is actually Keith Rollins, which is after Keith Morris and Henry Rollins, 2 singers from Black Flag. So, but that was that.
I mean, that's
awesome, man. I love this talk about music too, man. Oh my god. So, give us what you call it? Give us an example of a piece that you like to write and stuff like that. Like, show us something.
Mike, what do you mean? How do you mean? That could mean.
Meaning like if you have a piece you want to read is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, all right, I can read.
Yeah. So anybody out there can get a real taste of it in case they've never heard you perform your spoken word. Like, let's get it. Let's get one of those. Yeah. And while you pull up one, I just want to mention I'm older.
I'm 43.
I'm 40. And okay, so we're the same age. I don't really consider myself to be old, but there's this band Hot Mulligan, and they're really young. They're in their 20s, but they sing about, like, again, growing up and not wanting to grow up. And I kind of was like, hell yeah, I kind of am digging this. But I went and saw them perform, and I felt kind of creepy being a little bit old watching these 20-year-olds, playing.
That's how I am going to shows with my son.
And how bad
so we saw Car Seat Headrest.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if you guys know who Car Seat Headrest is.
I know that I'm a little bit younger than you guys, unfortunately. I mean, I'm 38, but
they're a fairly younger band. But my son got me into them, and we went to see them. And I walked in, and I was like, I'm like the old guy in the back nursing a beer, while all these kids are jumping up and down, and I'm worried about my knees. So that wasn't me. But
yeah, it's tough. Because me and my husband would like to go and he can't be like the pit anymore. And I'm still like, I know I don't want to, but it's still, you kind of want to be in that organic, piece of like people being together.
It was fun. It's like, the shows are still a lot of fun, but it's just, when I was my son's age, it was a lot different. It was heavier. There was spin kicks and it was super wild. Growing up in like the New Jersey hardcore metal scene was a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
So.
See, but I think what I like
Sorry,
about
everybody.
those times too, it was so authentic back then in a way that it's like, wow, like it's like you get to be part of that experience. Like I feel like music today, specifically today, it's just I don't know. I feel like it's just bull crap. Like it's just a bunch of gibberish. Like it's getting to the point even in
like
hip hop that okay,
Super
they're
Bowl?
just mumbling. It's just mumbling. Now I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? It makes absolutely no sense. I just feel like you listen to the songs of back then, it's like, wow, but see, it was real. And I think it's because it was recorded in a studio and not auto-tune. And I think this is
Right.
why I feel like you feel like you're part of that performance as they're recording the pieces and stuff.
Well, that's what I've always loved. And that was one of the things that I love about, not to take away from like punk and hardcore, because I love the themes, well, 12, the themes in a lot of that. But with jazz and Motown, it was just the hurdles that a lot of the artists had to overcome to get the albums out and to get the music that they have out. And to be as big as they are now, despite all of that, is incredible to me. Like, there's one album that it's my favorite album. I was going to put it on while I did this, but then I completely forgot because I've been drinking this stupid wine. But it's in a sentimental mood. It's John Coltrane and Duke Ellington, and it is my favorite jazz album. Like, I'm sure it's somewhere in my Instagram feed. There's like a video of my record player, but it is such a great album, and it's one of those things where like it doesn't matter if I'm having the worst or best day. It's like my go-to record. But it's just incredible to me. But yeah, going back to that, it's the facing version and then being what they are today. You know, like it's incredible to me. So
no, I definitely agree with you on that. Definitely agree with you, and I think that's why I love the older generations of music, because there's a story behind that. Because it wasn't like, okay, yeah, we have music, okay, let's put it out there. No, it was more like you said, there was a struggle to get to where they wanted to be to release their stuff out there, so that way they can, you know, again, like, because I feel like they were telling stories too, you know, and it's like you said about the whole Motown thing. It's so true, because again, like, to get to where they're at today, they had to go through the same thing. And speaking of telling stories, I was when I first interacted with you, I was looking through your page too. I noticed you have the Beat Generation, which I know a little bit about too, actually, and I feel like Allen Ginsberg was a perfect example of that, because, you know, he was countercultural against what they were talking about back then. You know, a couple of seasons ago, I did a live with a scholar named Tony Trigilio. So he knows a lot about Beat Generation, and he also knows about this one poet, which unfortunately we don't know a lot about her. Her name is Elise Cowan, and she was in love with Allen Ginsberg, and long story short, he was very complacent with their friendship. And the reason why we don't know a lot about her is because when she committed suicide, her parents, who were Jewish, took all her stuff and, you know, pretty much burnt it, because she was writing sexual love letters to, like, Emily Dickinson and stuff like that. And her roommate at the time happened to have this notebook, and this is all he was. And Tony Trigilio said something interesting. He said how, if he had released it a little bit early on rather than waited all this time, maybe we could have did a little bit more to know who she was. But it's because of that and him that I was able to know what the Beat Generation was. But I love how countercultural it was back then, because and this is one of the things that is pushing me more now to do what we're doing here now, because when I was doing a live with Robert Charbonneau, he was saying, he had this post about is poetry dying, and it's like, how can we go back, how can we get poetry to a point like that where it's like, okay, we're gonna speak louder, because Allen Ginsberg could do that, why can't we? And now with all this technology, all these resources, why not us?
No, absolutely. Like, one of the things that drew me to the Beat Generation was because when I started writing, it came from when I wasn't in the band anymore, and I kept writing, and it kind of transformed to poetry. And I did find writers like Bukowski and like Kerouac and like all of them. You know, while I do love Bukowski's writing. Obviously, he was a shit human, and but like it's one thing to love his writing and to take inspiration. It's another thing to emulate it. And right,
or idolize.
yeah. So I mean, the same could be said for this.
You can read his work.
Can be said about Ginsberg with Nambla.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can find a flaw in every single person that you would consider a hero, and that's not what it's about. You know what I mean? Like, you're not basing somebody's work off of them as a person, which there are some people that do that. But with the Beat Generation, it was the challenging of rhyme and meter, because I never rhymed. I've always thought that when people rhymed when they wrote poetry, it just sounded more like Dr. Seuss. You know what I mean?
I agree. Oh my God! Yes. Hold on.
I don't. If you're trying to figure out something that rhymes with the line you wrote, then how meaningful is that poem to you?
I agree.
Well, I mean, I get that because I'm a
Me too.
Kind of
I don't really rhyme in my poetry at all.
But,
right.
Really, but I gotta argue with both of you, because some of these forms are very restrictive. So in order to do a restrictive form, you kind of got to be extra flexible in order to do that. So I'm with you, because I'm a word vomit kind of a person myself. Like we totally are on the same place, you know. But you also gotta give up to our friends that really idolize, you know, like those iambic pentameter shit. Because I don't think that's in my wheelhouse.
But the thing is, like, I don't.
No, I don't. Stress on stress.
I don't hate people that rhyme. Like, I don't want it to come across like I'm saying, if you rhyme, die. Like, that's not what I mean. I'm saying, like if that's how people write, like, that's cool. Like, that's your expression. I'm not going to be somebody that takes away somebody's self-expression. And if you do it through rhyming, that's awesome. You got it out. It's not for me, because then it just it ends up sounding like you're trying to write an Eminem song.
Yeah.
Because you write the way you're feeling in your thoughts instead of writing for
a
format or specific thing. You're doing something in a.
I normally write things.
Cool.
I'll write things.
You're explaining that.
And I'll just write them, and then I'll look at it later and I'll say, "Well, this sucks," and I'll throw it away. Or like it is what it is. Like, I don't edit. I don't do things like that. That's why, like, my novels have a bunch of. I was going through a divorce when I wrote my first novel, so like there's so many.
So you probably got a lot.
So the funny thing about the novels is that I don't mention. It's based on me through the character, but it's my culinary career. It's not, because I'm a chef, so I base the books are off of that and the people I've worked with and the situations. And I did that for the first two. Only in the third one do I mention my actual life as far as me and my fiance. That's the only one, because up until, you know, the first two, I was going through things. I was alone. And then for whatever reason, we were both at the same restaurant at the same time and met. So that ended up being in the third novel that I finished in December, I think. So, like, you know, if you read, I'm not sure how much stuff I posted on Instagram from back then, but there was a lot of stuff about me, you know, and I make fun of myself now, and I even do it in some of my spoken word about drowning sorrows. Because one I'm about to actually record this week is called Drowning Sorrows Only Sounds Good in Poetry. And, but it's just, I look back at the things that I wrote, and I'm just like, God damn, like, I was such a miserable person. Like, you know, going through the things that I was going through, it kind of took away my ability to be the best father I could be, and to, you know, do the things that I want to do. Like, and now, you know, you flash forward, right? I live with my fiance, like, in this, you know, a home that we've built. I'm sitting at the bar of our condo, like, you know, like, things just kind of worked out. I had the best relationship I could ever have with my kids, and, you know, things are crazy.
So is this because you were able to get those, maybe processing your feelings out through those works, those written works, even though maybe
it's funny because it's partly that my fiance doesn't really care about poetry, so like it's my thing,
and that's okay. A lot of my friends are coming out to me saying, "Hey, I don't get this."
I love that.
That's
it's
okay. You don't have to get
because
yeah.
outside of
That's
poetry,
right.
my whole life is my kids, my fiance, and my job, and this is mine. You know, like I'm super happy that I have
your
this.
stuff.
But the realization, honestly, was, and it's funny because it was COVID. And the reason I say that is because, you know, we were working and we were when we first met, we were both at the lowest points of our lives, right? And we were hitting it hard, you know. I was in a restaurant at the time. Now I work in a senior living community, which is kind of like my, if you want to say, like retirement of being older, wanting to be a more present father and not wanting to be in the restaurant industry anymore. But we were in the restaurant. We would get out of work at sometimes midnight. And what's open at midnight? Bars.
Yeah.
So we would go and we would hit it hard and we would drink and drink. And then when COVID hit and we were only able to do that, it kind of forced us to take a really kind of good hard look at ourselves as people and as a couple. And we were kind of like, this isn't the life we want, you know, like we were able to, I guess, put all of our focus on what was important. And it brought us closer together, honestly, because through all of those struggles and through all of that, we managed to find that balance.
Wow.
And as much as COVID sucks, and I mean, obviously now COVID is just a giant meme. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's true.
It's so silly now. But like back then, you know, it was huge, and not being able to go out to a bar and you know, be an asshole after work. I
mean, that rocked everything about you at that time. Restaurant, and then having to have that introspective time and coming through that, like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the last couple of episodes we've done, that seems to be a topic. I think this is a sign. Okay, we gotta have a open mic forum that talks about after COVID. A lot of people don't talk about after COVID or what, like looking back. But it's interesting because during that time, that was a very interesting time, especially in my life, because I had pretty much got let go of my job because, you know, I was doing security in Fifth Avenue in the city, and they told me, yeah, listen, don't got nothing, because obviously everything closed down. But I feel like with COVID 2020, I feel like that was the year that a lot of people's true colors came out.
Oh, definitely.
And not just civilization, but also even in, because I'm, by category, I'm considered a born-again Christian. And there was a lot of scandals that were coming out at that time. That a lot of perspectives started to change, whether it was Carl Lentz or Ravi Zacharias and all these other people that were just like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, it was like God was just clean freaking house, pretty much. Like, it was like, no, I'm going to expose this kind of thing. It was just so many things, from that to the Black Lives Matter thing with George Floyd. And then while that was going on, then there was this, I talk about this with Leon a lot too. I feel like 2019, 2020, I noticed this community was booming like crazy because everyone was going live. Yeah. Everyone was getting like, because everybody was at home. What else was there to do? Everyone was locked down, and some people had it worse than we did, and some people had it not as bad as we did. And for 4 or 5 months, I was pretty much home, looking at live, staying up all night because there was nothing to do. The only thing that was open was a 7-Eleven by my house. But a lot of true colors definitely came out. I can say that for a fact. It was insane. You look back now like, whoa, and that's why, to what you said, you can look back now like, you know what, that helped me appreciate today, because my mindset changed, and my son just started learning how to walk. He was only 1 when this happened. And because this happened, March 20th was when the thing, at least in New York, March 20th was the day they actually shut everything down for good for a little bit. But let me see. But yeah, so that day that Cuomo announced it, that's when literally I see my son walking for the first time. Okay, oh wait, what's going on here? But a lot of things like was happening. It's just like, you put that in perspective now, like, whoa, like that is Like,
you know, I can say it was like COVID, you know, but a lot, and even in the last book that I wrote was in the beginning of it. You know, I thank my fiancee Shayna for saving my life because she did. And you know, I can say like during COVID, we both realized and we both did this, but she was the one that said let's stop, and I was the one that's like, no, let's keep going. You know what I mean? Until like I got to the point where I was like, you know what, you're right. Like we have everything we need. And like before I met her, I was on a crash course. We used to I don't know, we had this thing where like we'd see each other at work and we kind of just nod, see each other's names. And it was like a silent understanding that we were both fucked from the night before. And then like that turned into whatever this is, which is amazing. I'm getting married in May, so.
oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
She is amazing.
All right.
And
It's going to be, oh my gosh, that's any day now. Like, you're going to
No.
here. You nervous?
no, it's,
Ready to go?
yeah. It's, I don't know, it's wild. You know, I never saw myself as being someone that would be married twice, you know? And because when my first marriage ended, I was all doom and gloom. You know, like, this is it. No one will love me, and this is done. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Wow.
We weren't big fans of each other, so it wasn't like I was holding the torch for her. But when you're completely blindsided by somebody, and like you're like, holy shit! Like this is the one thing that you thought you needed in the past, but you know you need now in somebody else. You know what I mean? Like I met her, and I was like, what the hell? Like where have you been? And well, she was the one person, like, when I started doing spoken word, and it's crazy how this all ties together, you know, like, so
yeah, let's hear it. Yeah,
in
that's
2018, I recorded a spoken word, which was just spoken word, for In the Lake Records, which is out of Chicago, and they put out a cassette tape. I actually just recently got a hold of one, because but, and I put that out. And when I started, this originally started with me making silly beats before I discovered the amazing world of royalty-free jazz.
That's interesting. Yeah, I remember you told me about that a little bit. I've been meaning to ask you, where do you go for that? That's so cool.
I can't play an instrument. I grab a guitar and fuck. I pick up my son's guitar for like 2 minutes, and then I'm like, I put it down.
Yeah, I'm like intermediate level. I can't shred or anything like that. I play guitar a little bit, but I'm like still learning. Like I just know the basic stuff. I don't know how to do like shredding and doing all this. And I can't do all that.
I can play Iron Man on one string.
Oh wow,
That's it. Outside of that, on drums, I can only play "Push It" by Salt and Pepper. That's it.
That's awesome.
When I started making my own kind of beats, and they were silly, but that's when I started adding music to the tracks that I had on that one thing. And then I was doing it one day, and you know, my fiance was like, "Why are you doing that?" And you know, I told her, I was like, I like doing this, like it's fun, you know, whatever. But for somebody that knows me now and knows who I am now, she was kind of worried that I was reliving those days, because a lot of the poems were pretty grim, and they were pretty, like, you know, I mentioned drinking a lot, which I cringe now at the amount of, you know, when I read a poem and I'm like, drunk and blah, I'm like, oh, fuck, like, come on, dude, like, you know? But
especially when it's like
she was, she was worried that it would pull me back into that depression, you know, because since I met her, I found anxiety medications, and man, what a fucking wonderful thing those are, huh?
Oh,
like,
God.
Just, you know, like, it's so incredible how much, you know, and people can bash it all they want, but like, sometimes we need that serotonin. Like, you know, like I started taking this stuff. It was a couple years ago, or a year ago, I believe it was, something like that. And, you know, at first I'm like, this is silly, because she pushed me to do it, because she was seeing that, like, my moods were a little off, and maybe I was a little off. And I won't admit that because I'm proud, or whatever you want to say. But I started taking it, and it was incredible to me how different my mindset was and how happy I was. You know what I mean? Like, you get so lost in all of the bullshit and all of the other things going on around you that it's so easy to forget about your own mental health.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm with you right now.
Well, yeah, I had to go through that the hard way too. Yeah,
I spent
for that.
So much time blaming every other situation in my life on things that were going on with me, I guess, to help me cope, you know, because no one wants to admit they're going through it, right? So,
yeah. I want to ask you clarification though, Arthur, because because this is important, I think because a lot of people are experiencing the same thing that you've been. I think we both just said we are totally in the same boat. I think a lot of us are in the same boat. So your way was kind of more of a anger, emotional, like, fuck this, fuck the world, fuck everything that's happened. Because some of us also are like, they take on too much responsibility. So your processing, can you talk about that a little bit?
My processing was being a very, very jealous person, right? So
I definitely understand that.
So Shen and I also worked at a local grocery, like an organic grocery place. Like, I worked there part-time. Actually, we worked at both jobs together. We were both at the restaurant, and then we were both there. And,
is that good for you guys?
No, because she's still there and I'm not. So,
okay.
This is also pre-meds, right? And what I'm hoping to do right now, and I didn't even expect to be doing this right now, is to eliminate the stigma with getting medication, right? It doesn't make you a weaker person. It doesn't make you less than who you are. It's not going to make you a fucking zombie, despite what all these weirdos say about it, right? Mental health is super, super important. And you're not going to be, you might say, like, I don't need that because I'm fine. But, like, dude, like, you're leaving a bar every night at 3 a.m. Like, are you fine? You know, like, that's where I was at. And,
yeah, we don't know how much we're actually knowing while we're coping.
Because when you wake up, it's still there.
I don't feel fucking anything. I don't feel anything anymore. Yeah, it's always there. And you're functional. I've been very functional with that. So I put the pain, swallow it down, let's keep going. I can keep going. I can endure. Let's go. So I'm really excited to hear
while we were working together, you know, like, for whatever reason, and it's funny to me now because of where I am now. It was I latched onto this one dude, and I was like, he wants to fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, and I was just so like, I was so hyper focused on this one nerd. Like, and like, I say that now, like, not as a jealous person, just because the guy was a douchebag, as we found out later on. But like, I just latched onto it, and it ruined so many nights because it was like, why is he talking to you? And like, it's her job. But I was so in my own head, like, I would create scenarios, like, and fuck, like, I can't even explain to you how ridiculous it is looking back now, you know, like.
But it was consuming you at the time. Like, it probably was just all encompassing, and just every fucking moment you just couldn't just get it off of your, mind. Were you experiencing any physical symptoms
it would make me sick.
with this kind of like aggressive paranoia? Like physically ill.
Like I would be super paranoid, and it would to the point where I was like worried, and which is crazy because, like, you know, like. She's never given me any indication that any indication that was like a thing. And me being who I was,
Right.
you know, and I was working, like, keep in mind, I was working 2 jobs at that point. I was, and not getting rest, not taking care of myself. I was going into work at 3 a.m. and working till 11, and then leaving there and going to a bar that I was working in the kitchen at until 12 o'clock. And
I was gonna say, yeah, go ahead. No, sorry.
So
I'm just listening to everybody. Like, wow.
Yeah.
it was, you know, it was a wild
And,
time, you know, like,
sleep either.
and she was like, maybe you need to talk to someone. And it got to the point where I looked at her and I was like, I think you're right. Like, this isn't okay. What's that?
The one time she came at you, like, this is like this is really near and dear to my heart. Like, I'm really, like, I want to pick, like, the situation. So,
No.
like, was it one time that she came at you to talk, or
It was
like,
a couple of times because the first couple of times you're like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. You know? Yeah.
Right, I can do this.
But
I'm
then
gonna be fine.
when you're sitting by yourself, because I would get home first some days. Like, there was days where I would get home after there, and I wouldn't have to go to the restaurant, so I'd be sitting home alone. But I was like, you know, like, I really need to do something about this. So she, you know, there was like, you need to call your doctor, and then she'd be like, did you call them? And I'm like, no, I didn't have time. And I would have every excuse in the world, right? And I finally did. And I talked to my doctor, and she explained, because I was having severe anxiety attacks at the place I'm at now. And
can you describe what that was like?
Yeah,
I won't go there now.
Was that anxiety attack for you? Like, what does that look
so,
like?
the
What does that
smallest
look like
things
for you?
would feel like the fucking ceiling was caving in, right? Like, one of my cooks would forget something. And in my head, it's like the executive director is going to come down on me. And it would feel like, like my chest would be pounding to where, like, Shayna would actually see it. Like when I was sitting across from her, right? And she was like, you need to get this looked at. You need to get this looked at. And eventually, you know, like, that one day off, and then this. And it was like, all right, okay, I'm going to go. And I'm talking to my doctor, and she was like, you are dealing with anxiety and depression. And I was like, get the hell out of here. Not me, right? You know, like, that's how you are. You're in denial.
I'm a
like,
happy guy.
You know, everything you're feeling is completely normal. So what? You walk outside and you hope a fucking plane hits you and kills you. Like, that's normal, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh my
wow.
God. This might be a really good time.
No, I'm just listening because it's like everything you guys are saying resonates with me, because I know for me, like, before I came to Christ, I used to struggle a lot with drinking.
I even have stories with that, Andy.
What happened?
I have stories with the coming to Christ.
I'm saying, like, is there a spoken that we could do with this? Oh.
No, wait.
Let's hear this one. I was just saying.
No, it's just
I'm
wait,
it's different.
So it's with me, but yeah, like, it was getting to a point, like, yeah, I always lived with my parents and stuff like that before I got married. But for me, everything you're saying is just like hitting me hard. So I'm just quiet because I'm like, oh God, like, everything. I know what you're talking about, because for me, I got to burst to the point where, like, I would go to this bar called Turkey's Nest in New York, right? I would go. That was always my local bar. Everyone went to Turkey's Nest. Like, if you got kicked out of that bar, you're a moron. Like, it was one of those kind of places. And sometimes I would be in the park bench, like, just sleeping because I just didn't want to go home, or I was too drunk, or there'd be times where I was so depressed that, because I hated the four walls of my bedroom, just dealing with my parents and not really having that peace of mind, just, okay, there's too much noise. There were times I would go to sleep on the train just so I got a place to sleep. And to me, you know, that's kind of dangerous, because you don't know what happens at that time of day, that time of night, especially during the overnights. But everything you're saying, that feeling, that just, you know, feeling like you got nothing to live for, it's real, you know. And the day I came to Christ, though, you know, that really changed my life, like, my whole perspective on things, because I realize now, you know what? As bad as this was, it could be a lot worse. You know, I could have died. I could have gotten killed. I could have got hit by a car or whatever. You know, so much bad things could have gotten worse. And I realize now, like, wow, okay, like, because I think what I needed to learn was this perspective we see here. It's like, at that moment, that's all we see is the worst of the worst. What I've learned over time is, you know what, as bad as this is, it's going to get better, because unfortunately, a lot of things have to get worse in order for it to get better. So we could understand, you know, what it is today, because I think going through all that and looking back now, you know, and so you can appreciate that stuff. You know, at that time, it sucked at that time, but at the end of the day, like, you know what, I'm still alive to think about it. I'm alive to talk about it. I'm alive to even do that. I had one suicidal attempt back in 2013, and you know, all it took was pretty much a text message to make me think otherwise. And first it was my older brother. He hit me up saying, "Hey, I'm having this youth service next week. Why don't you come through?" Then it's funny because my wife, who was my friend at the time, hit me up saying, "What are you doing tonight? Come through. I'm at this place called Lulu Lounge, which is in Bedford Avenue on the L line." And I said, all right, because you know I love karaoke. So the fact that it's like, if it wasn't for those two text messages, I don't know what would have happened. And I was already messed up as it is.
You are kind of the master of segues, aren't you? Because
no,
I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. And don't mind this. I quit smoking.
That's fine. It's fine, bro.
Impossible to stop. I feel like one of those like little high school douchebags. It's like, you know, like, so like I quit smoking cigarettes because I hated the way they made my car smell, and they're expensive.
Oh my God, I used to smoke a lot too. Trust me, because I couldn't do Newports, but I was always doing Marlboros or Camel Crush. Like that was always I hated Newports. That's like fiberglass. That's like you got to go to the hood.
American
that. Like,
Spirit Yellows. I started smoking hipster cigarettes.
Oh my!
Which is funny because in the one thing on the album Piss and Ink, I mentioned people smoking American Spirit cigarettes.
Yeah,
and I became that
and
after I recorded that. Go figure. Right? But the segue, so actually it's one of the things I'm going to read to you. And it's the last track on that little EP, The Day After Christmas. So it was actually written around this Christmas, my brother-in-law. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because you're talking about you're being born again in your faith in Christ, which I don't share that, but I completely appreciate it, because it's not my place to tell people they're wrong, just like it's not their place to tell me I'm wrong for not believing it. And it's also, everything in life should be a mutual respect, right? Like once you start telling someone they're wrong for something, then you've lost the plot. But my brother-in-law was a born-again Christian, saved his life. He was a heroin addict. And he beat it, found the church. You know, he was incredible. Like one of the best dudes, you know, like I didn't know him when he was an addict because I started dating Shayna during his recovery. So he was clean for I guess 3 or 4 years, and he was part of a church. Very, very sorry, these kids are loud.
It's cool. I have a 4-year-old, so I understand, bro.
Oh, no. Just to cut real quick,
teenagers.
I have a 17-year-old son who's not even home because he's off hanging out with his friends. But my 8-year-old niece, my 10-year-old daughter, and my 11-year-old daughter are all upstairs. You know, I told them not to come down here, so they're stomping around up there, so they're heard. You know. And anyway,
they want to be a part of
No. I tell them they can't read my books because it's too adult for them. These are struggles
one day.
They're struggles they can find for themselves.
I don't know about not the 10-year-old.
But they actually have Spotify, so like, Daddy, I listen to your music, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Damn it. You know, and they're like,
close.
Play it.
Close.
Like, oh my God. But going.
But maybe when they're older, they'll be able to
Yeah,
really have that
no,
conversation with
definitely.
you about having those
I
kind
think
of
they'll appreciate it
experiences.
more when
That's great.
like my 17-year-old appreciates it more because he was old enough to see me going through it and see the change in me as a person. He and I are super close. Like he's my best friend, so he
That's
sees it.
great.
But going back to this, so my brother-in-law was here for Christmas, and I cooked with him. We were joking around. He was a little off, but we were like, all right, it's fine. That's him, And I'm hoping Shayna doesn't listen to this and get upset that I'm oversharing. But it affected me in a way that I didn't expect it to affect me in, because I'm the brother-in-law, and if I get a little upset right now, forgive me. Blame the wine.
Not do it. It's all fine. That's what I like about what we're doing here, because at the end of the day, it's open. Yeah. It's like, yo, you got stories to tell, man. That's, to me, it's a beautiful thing, in my opinion.
And we're all feeling the same thing, and I think you're right. Let's break.
Yeah.
Let's have these.
Well, I mean, we shouldn't be quiet about it.
Like we're all going through the same shit.
I'm pretty sure at this, in 2023, I'm hopeful that people are done hiding how they feel.
Word.
We don't.
Mm-hmm. We're done.
Oh God, no!
We can feel things now.
Yes.
But he was completely God-fearing. Found his cause. They rescued him. He met a girl, which I don't have that poem in front of me because I kind of recorded it off the cuff. Was the one "You the Serpentine"? It's only on Instagram. It's about his wife, because he met her at the church. She took him for all he had, made him miserable, was cheating on him the whole marriage, and then claimed to be pregnant right before Christmas. And he told us this, He took us all into in my living room, because we were all at my house for Christmas, which is so wild to me because, I've always gone everywhere else for Christmas. To have everyone at my house was cool. We did it last year too, but this year just kind of meant more because Max wasn't there. So he was there, and he told us about what was going on with him, and we were like, oh no, that sucks. Of course, my father-in-law, being the hilarious asshole he is, I love this guy to death. This is my ride or die. Even though I almost burnt their house down, the first Thanksgiving I spent with them, we have a good relationship. But he looked at him and he was like, maybe it's not yours. And as serious as the conversation was, I kind of laughed and I felt bad. But it's true. But the whole point of what I'm trying to get to is, and I know it sounds like I'm rambling. It was just this is so fresh in my mind that it's fucking wild to me. And this guy, he didn't feel well, so he went to the hospital, and that was it. He went there, and my father-in-law brought him, and then he came back and ate dinner. My brother-in-law stayed at the hospital, and then he went back home to Philly, and nobody can get a hold of him. And Monday, I get a text message because, I called Shayna and I said, if you hear from Max, let me know he's okay, because his mom, their mom had a bad feeling, and it turns out they found him with baggies around him, and yeah.
Wow.
So I wrote the poem in here, and this whole book right here was meant to be something that I put out and I made so it would go towards his service. Sorry, I'm
dude.
No. Thank you for sharing. Especially when
watching a family like that come apart. It's not easy. I don't talk to my parents, and to get me away from being upset, it's actually going to make you laugh. My ex-wife lives with my parents.
Wait, what?
Oh, wow.
Hold on, it gets better.
Wow.
My parents My parents paid for her attorney in our custody battle.
Oh, no.
So I don't talk to them. So my family and the family I know is Shannon's family. So, you know, it's one of the reasons it hit me so hard because they're my family now.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention that I was just cooking with the guy. We were just in my kitchen
like
cooking and laughing, like having such a good time. And the reason
yes, man.
And so,
that's tough. No closure.
This will tell you something, and this will tell you what my family means to me. Is that I'm a devout atheist, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
I hear you.
I go to church every week with my family because they believe and because they're honoring Max. Granted, funny as fuck for me.
Wow, that's a big deal. That's a big fucking deal. That's like saying something.
Well, it's because I love them and
I hear you.
I'll support them.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, though, and it's selfish because it's, you know, people watching at its finest, you know. And I'm sorry, no offense, Andy, but like this stuff.
No, dude, it's fine,
the
bro.
Entire time, how does your arm not get tired? And my father-in-law says that they're high-fiving Jesus. Now I can't get that image out of my head.
Oh my God! Hey, what's up? Hey!
Yeah. But
oh man, no. One thing about me, I always say my friends
now because I know we got sidetracked for like a half hour.
No, hey, listen, it's all good, man. I like when stuff happen organically. That's the purpose of this, you know. It's just organic, you know. But yeah, I'm not really.
But Andy, I definitely want to hear some poetry. I want to hear some fucking spoken word poetry, though. Like that's why people came. They want to hear Arthur Wilhelm. They want to hear this. You know, they want to get a little taste of the spoken word.
This is a hard one. It was even hard when I recorded it for that because I actually did a video and I just extracted the audio because I tried to do it again and I couldn't.
Wow.
I don't even know.
There's like an obvious difference from the poems I recorded with the microphone and my computer and like an actual setup and that one. But this one is, all right. Let's see if I can read it with these lights because I'm basically blind. Not really, but all right. This one is The Day After Christmas, and this was the one I'm talking about. And this one sucks. It doesn't suck like I think this poem sucks. Fuck this poem. No, it sucks because like it's one of the harder ones. There's this one, and there's the other one I'm going to read, which is called "We've Lost the War." And
I love that one too. That was actually
on the album. So these are like the last two on that album because they were the last two. I guess I don't know why I wanted to end it on a sad note, but I guess I did. So.
Yeah, you already answered my question, so I was going to ask if you said those things that way on purpose. You already answered my question, so that.
I didn't. That's the thing.
Okay.
When I was arranging the tracks. What's that?
I have a philosophy here. I think you wanted people to walk away with that sucker punch gut feeling that just stays with you for like the next 2 hours. Okay. That's my theory.
I'm currently recording songs for volume 2 because I'm like, well, I mean, like, this is such like a niche thing that it's like not like people are like running out to download it. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, it's fine. I enjoy doing them.
But people don't know it's there. I want people to know it's there.
So I'm doing volume 2, which is more
niche or not.
It's more, I guess, not quirky, but it's the more like out there poems I've written. But the one that my favorite, one of the better ones, like in my opinion, that I wrote, it's actually a video on Instagram. If you guys follow me, you should. It's
I do follow you.
Yeah.
Not you two, everyone else. I know you guys do, and I appreciate that. But it's called Burnt, and yeah, it's like depressing without being depressing. It's fucking weird, man. But anyway, back to this one. It was just convenient that I had this. I have another one in here that's long, but I've self-made this one, but then I decided not to because I have a chapbook coming out on Two Keys Customs in April, which is Steve, an amazing dude. If you guys don't follow them, like Two Keys Customs, the best people. So you should follow them. Probably right now. Yeah.
Okay. I'll put
They're
that
great.
too.
And before I read this, I just want to say, and I would be remiss if I didn't, there are two people you guys should follow that are two of the best people that I know. And it is Carlton and Brianna. And I'm drinking and trying to read this, so I can't spit out their names right away. But if you look at my stuff, you'll see that I always talk about them. The Carlton.
We'll definitely add that.
What's that?
In. We'll add them in to afterwards because I definitely want to make sure I get those people's names out there.
Them.
Everybody,
they are like two of the best people. And I was gonna do a show up at the Pocono Cinema for them, but Carlton took ill and they decided to pump the brakes on the show series, which, you know, like, I appreciate that though, because you got to look after yourself first. And they're such good people that I want them to be okay, you know, like, they're like so good. And I know they'll watch this because they're the fucking best. So
awesome.
It's the Carlton and Cauldron Click. You'll see them in my stuff.
We'll make sure we put that out there.
Hey, we're champions of each other, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and you know what? That's exactly what we're all trying to do here because we want to be getting into each other's work and supporting each other. We don't know each other. We're not seeing each other. That's what That's why.
That's why when Andy asked me to do this, I was pretty stoked because I'm kind of flying under the radar. You know, like
It's crazy.
No.
You know what's crazy? You know how sometimes you follow people, you're like, hey, how do I follow you? How do you, I don't remember how I ended up finding out about this person, but for some reason, I actually remember, this is back in, I'm going to say 2018-ish, 2019. I'm going to say this when I was first starting. And I remember this poet, she goes by the name, her name is Emily Perkovich. She goes by Under Me You, I think it is. And she used to have a community page called We Made Something For You or something like that. And I remember she featured you on the page. That's how I found out who you were, through that.
Oh, shit. I don't remember the name either. Because I'm pretty sure two of the people that started it stopped because they were like a couple.
Yeah, I see that. When it comes to the backstage stuff, I guess I'm backstage, but I don't really know too much. And then I've had people vent to me about this, but I always what?
Drew Kowski was the dude's Instagram name, and then he disappeared.
Oh, yeah. Wait, that the guy with the glasses?
I don't remember, dude.
I know the girl. I remember the girl. I can't remember her name, but Drew Kowski.
That sounds familiar. You know what's funny? There's a lot of people who have left.
Started that. I think it was like I forget what it was, but like they were the best people. Then they disappeared.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who are not there anymore, and I'm just like, oh my god, because there's community pages that are not there anymore. Even Matt Props Live was another one I used to follow, and then We Together Love was another one I used to follow, and they're not even there anymore either. I was like,
if you write poetry, before I read this, I just want to say this because this is a guy that I've actually done spoken word shows with, and he has his own press. I don't know if you know Tom Bakelis.
Oh, I'm going to follow him now, so,
His handle is it's Flex Your Head.
Flex Your Head? Okay.
He runs Between the Shadows Press. What a dude.
Okay.
Honestly. Like, one of the best dudes I know. We've done shows. I actually printed some of his books before he started this press when I had mine. And he is such an incredible, incredible writer. You guys will love him. Like, he is
Yeah. Quick question: where are you doing those shows?
So
at?
what we
Those
did
shows
them.
that you guys.
Well, no,
You mentioned the
was
Poconos.
that was
Mhm.
with
Okay.
Carlton and
I,
Brianna, and I never did that one.
yeah, I'm about to put their
But I love
handles out right
them.
now because
I love you guys.
I was
You're the best.
saying you were going
And
to.
then
And we're
the
putting them
ones
out right now.
the ones that we did, I did two for one guy, my buddy Glenn. He had this series called Stories by the Sea, where he had all New Jersey-based writers at a spot, and we would do spoken word. And we did it for a couple of years, and then it kind of stopped because of COVID. And then like things happened that I'm not really at liberty to discuss. That I don't have the insight on to talk about. But we just didn't do it. But they were amazing. Like there was people on those shows like Scott Ladotti, which I don't know if you guys know who he is, but incredible writer from New Jersey. It's funny. I actually, when I was in a band a long time ago, after my metal band, the drummer of that band, his brother was in a band with Scott, and then years later we reconnected over poetry. And he was the writer, and I was writing, and we ended up doing a show together. And incredible writer.
Wow.
This guy is.
Wow.
It was him,
Wow.
and there was so many other people. T.J. McGowan, the Everyday Bite, which this fucking guy, he gets on stage without a book and just recites all the shit from memory.
I can't do that. I could try, but I suck at that.
Amazing writer as well. The Everyday Bite.
Okay.
And Glenn, it's so wild though, because I look back at that and like I'm just like, we did these shows and there was so much fun, and it reminded me of the old punk shows because it was just people getting together and doing things, and and then COVID hit, and now I haven't done one since. I was gonna do the one, but understandably, obviously, it's not gonna happen, and I'm completely understandable about that. And I'm also, I have social anxiety, so like, to get me to do this, I better fucking like you. You know what I mean? Like, I either better like you or there better be booze. And but the first two I did drunk, and so this was going to be my like sober one, like my like I don't drink that much. As I sit here with a giant glass of wine, a mega pint, as Johnny Depp says, and
oh my god.
But I also had a long day, so like, forgive me.
That's fine.
No,
but there were such good shows, and I miss doing it. I miss the community of it. Back when.
Is that something you would want to get back?
Absolutely. If I can get like all the old heads back and then bring in some new ones to see how it was, you know what I mean? Like not like the old timer, like this is how it was in my day. You know what I mean? Like, but just to get people in, because I feel like Instagram is like, it's so many people that are all about themselves and they're all about their struggles, and they don't give a fuck about yours or mine or yours. You know what I mean? Like, and I've always likened them to like silver spoon poets. Like not a struggle in the world, but they're writing poetry because it's cool. And it's like the next big thing, like Rupi Kaur.
Like the name tag. I think that's the best way to describe it. Like, like, I feel that's how I feel about, in unfortunate, I feel like even in Christianity is becoming like that, where, I'm a Christian too, that they want to wear like a brand.
Right.
Oh, you're just doing it because everyone else is doing it. You're not doing it because you want to change your life better. Same thing with the poetry. You're just doing it because, it's cool. So let me just jump on the bandwagon. But you're not really doing it because you actually enjoy poetry. I so agree with you on that. It's crazy how this is what life is becoming now. Oh, I'm gonna jump off the bridge. Okay, I'm gonna jump off with you. Screw it, because everyone's jumping off. Like, what?
You'd be amazed at how many people like claim to be poets but don't read a fucking word of poetry, man. Like, if you're not reading your peers and you're not reading the people around you, what are you doing?
Yep.
Like,
Nothing.
So Two
Absolutely.
Keys Customs, and I'm a little plug for you guys. Before I read this for like the 80th time. No, I love that this is a free-flowing conversation, though. Like, you know, like I'm not forced to be like, this is my poem. You know, like,
yeah.
Two Keys Customs.
Talk about it. Also, this is Annie and our first time, and we're really struggling. I'm really struggling to not know when to stop interrupting.
No, it's great. So like you guys are fucking awesome.
Here with you. You're
no, thank you. I appreciate that.
Listen, I'm so excited to be promoting your shit because it's awesome. Like, I'm so excited to hear a lot of this background story because, again, your story, we're all in your fucking boat. And with Instagram, like, I didn't get to see you until, like, Andy's like, hey, we're going to be checking out this amazing guy that has, like, amazing connections. And, again, it's like, fuck, why is it taking me so long to get to some of these people? Like, you just listed off, like, 5, 6 amazing people. Yeah. Don't fucking follow any of them. Why?
Which is funny. You know what?
It's like I always say, man.
A lot of the people he's doing, I fucking love. You know, like the next one after me, love her. Incredible. She's hilarious.
I know, like
the best, like mom and wife, like fucking hilarious. Been following her for so long.
Nice.
But shit, where was I going? Oh, yeah. So I can give you background on every track of the album if you ask me. So if you wanted to listen to it and DM me, I could tell you everything that was going on in my fucking head.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I actually heard the whole album twice already. I really, really enjoyed that. I like to say, because it was funny. I always wanted to do something like that. I'm like, damn, how you do that without the whole copyright music thing? And then you talk about royalty free. I mean, wait, that's a thing? But it's only guys on their website actually for any genre. How does that work?
It was accidental. I just Googled, like, royalty free, blah, 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 jazz, because I just wanted to fuck around with something.
Right.
And then I found one track, and I was like, holy shit, this works. And then I just started doing it. The only one track that I fucking hate every time it comes out is The Radio Has Been Drinking. Every time I try to do something with that track, I cannot find the right thing. And, like, I like what I did with this EP, but I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, I like it, but it's not like, it doesn't, like, do it, you know? Like,
yeah. And I get you. I like it personally. I think it was cool. But I get what you're saying. We always have that one thing or that one track or that one song that's just like, like, I don't know. It's just not doing it for me. Maybe, how about this one? Like, oh, no. How about this one? Like, oh, my God. I know what you mean, brother.
It's like my favorite one, which is so funny. And it's so I don't know, maybe it's the one that makes me sound crazy. It's Under the Same Sun, which is about killing my ex-wife.
Wow.
Hey, that's you know, I think a lot of people have.
But it's just a poem. I would never do it.
So,
yeah.
Of course.
I just like the music and how it goes into the poem.
I cannot wait to get all.
No, you message me. I will tell you everything. There it is. Two Keys Customs. That says Two Keys Tavern.
That's them, right?
I was like, wait, what?
Sorry, my bad.
And there's Flex Your Head. That's my buddy Tom Bakelis. Amazing writer, amazing press.
All right. Customs. You know what? I couldn't remember.
That would be a sick.
Wait, I just realized what that
tavern. That'd be a sick tavern.
You know.
Where's that, England?
I don't know what happened. I do see the amazing. Is it?
Let me read this before we go too far. Anyway,
I think that's
back to the depression, guys.
Killing people.
No. That's just my ex. No, this is this poem
form.
is actually this one's about my brother-in-law.
Yes. Oh my God! No, the emotional piece.
We're really all over.
Oh yeah, we're just. I mean, yeah. So
You fucking guys rule.
Yeah, ignore that like really
All right,
horrible like murder ex-wife thing, and let's talk about the first family member that you ever really truly grieved the loss of.
Let's bring it down a little. Oh.
Right.
Oh, that's green. That's not bringing it down to fucking anything. There we go. All right, red. I can't read. All right, great. All right, so this one is the day after Christmas, and I wrote this one shortly after I found out my brother-in-law died. And you'll understand when I read it if you didn't listen to the song. I say song, but like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, here we go.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's so weird being put on the spot like this, too.
Nobody's like, we're not all
holy shit, this lighting makes me look like I have a 5 head.
No.
All right. 43, good head of hair. I'm okay with it. The day after Christmas. These are the darkest days. The birds stop singing their songs, and my throat is raw from nights of wine and so many cigarettes. The Christmas lights are still up, and they hurt like hell, but the idea of taking them down hurts like hell. And the house is so goddamn heavy with our last conversation on Christmas Day. We cooked and told so many jokes, and it was a good day until it wasn't. And those conversations linger in the kitchen with every creak of the door or drip of the sink. And we'll never hear your voice again, and I'm not sure Christmas will ever be the same again. So again, I find myself drinking and smoking until my throat is raw. And you are a man of God, while we both know I am not. But I find myself hoping that I'm wrong. And that's that.
Yes.
What are you doing down here, bro?
Man.
Okay, go.
That you know what's crazy? I think the reason why I like that piece too it reminds me of my father because when his mom passed away, she passed away the day before New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So every year around this time, he just could not celebrate New Year's Eve. He was always sad. They always did, especially like in Hispanic culture, they do this thing called a death ritual where they'll go to like someone's house, they'll light candles, and they do like this whole ceremonious, ritualistic thing. And they'll start praying, like, you know, they'll have the rosaries with them, and you'll be like, "Yo, Santa Maria, Dios," and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, okay, do we have? Like, I'm thinking in my head, okay, do we have to be here? This is what I'm a kid, so I gotta go everywhere my parents go. I'm like, like, do we have to do this? Like, this is just weird. But it reminded me of that. But then the next day, New Year's Eve comes. Of course, he used to get drunk and get depressed because he's crying, he's mourning, and this is like, I stayed for 20 plus years. He went through this until I think one day he just decided he couldn't do it anymore. So he would just go to sleep on New Year's Eve. Like, he did not stay up, nothing, because his whole thing was, and I just I can't get myself to do that kind of thing. He was always going to sleep, and then my mom and my sister did their thing, I did my thing, and then, but that's what it was. And he was always going to sleep on the New Year's Eve. He just never stood up, never celebrated nothing, and he was just miserable for so many years until, again, like, he eventually came to the Lord, and then, he ended up passing away, and all that stuff. But when you talk about your piece, it brought me back to that. See, like, I think I should write about it now. I think I'm getting inspired to even write about it. I should call it the day before New Year's Eve or something like that. But this is what that reminded me of because when I first heard it on the album and then you reciting it, it's like, I feel the emotion there. And it's just like, wow. Like, I know.
It's having
that, especially now.
You know what I mean? Like, and spending time with them and, like, getting, having that time with them. And then finding out just a day later that he passed, it's fucking hard, you know?
Yeah.
And
there have been a lot of people recently I've been talking to that have lost family members right on that holiday. Like, how this is for you, right?
Christmas
recently, or like within the last So like, this is gonna be this might not be the question for you yet, but there's been like multiple. One person I know lost their father on Christmas senior year of high school, and then somebody else, daughter lost her mother Christmas, and one was able to regain that holiday spirit back and The other one has not been able to
Yeah,
read past that.
I don't know how
So I
next
don't know if that
Christmas
is a
is
question
going to
for you
be.
yet, but is that something
You
you're going
know?
to be able to? Yeah, that's something that I don't want to necessarily plan with you now, but yeah, I wanted to talk about the poem real quick, and I really thought the way you described that last, your last moments with him and how it lingered in the kitchen, how you talked about the actual cooking together, like you can really kind of feel that like amorous feeling of that connection piece, and I really liked how because to me, you really are able to encapsulate the emotion just by talking about what's actually happening. So you're not talking about being sad, but you're talking about like the connection you're having with the cooking and those conversations, and missing that, and then also going into that whole dark hole where you're drinking and your throat's sore and you're just doing that. So like I love the imagery in that. Spoken versus written, like why spoken versus more about like a printed text for you? Because poetry should be written, read out loud, or just
Well,
like a
I
song guy.
start everything as poetry. It's just written, and I decided like, I recorded just a video of me reading it for Instagram, and then I found a song that was just like, holy shit, this works, and like. I just feel like it's one thing to read poetry, and it's one thing to record yourself reading it, but like the amount of emotion that can be encapsulated in it with music, especially jazz, or especially like music like that. It just, the point that you're trying to get across, it helps tremendously. Because I can read it, and I can, read it 1,000 times, and you'll hear it in my voice, sure. But the music that you hear in the background, it helps you understand what I'm actually going through. And it sounds weird because I record the vocals first, and then I add them to the song.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't do it where I have the song in the headphones while I'm recording it, because
I think that's hard to do that. I think
I don't want.
I feel like I wouldn't be able to
come across as contrived, like I'm trying to record a song. So I try to do it without music, so it's just me reading it the way it's intended to be read. Speaking of which, this is my son laughing at me.
I fucked up so much time.
That's Lennon. That's my son.
The
best friend I talked about earlier.
That's the number one guy. Number one guy.
They're like my boy. Yeah, really.
You're like
that's
best thing that ever happened.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. If your sister ever fights, we know who the favorite is.
Oh man!
But no, really, like if I was to read it, and over music, it would sound like I'm trying to record like a performance piece, or like I'm trying to like adhere to something. But if I just read it the way it's meant to be read, and then add it to the music, it's more sincere, because like I'm not trying to sell anybody something. I'm recording the writing, because I want to do something with it. I want, there's feeling behind it, because everything I write has something behind it, right? Like I'm not just writing things because it's cool to write them. I'm writing them because I'm going through things. So if I was to try to do that, with headphones, with a pre-recorded track, and then reading along with that, you can tell. It would sound like I'm reading a script. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had
absolutely
a question or a follow-up with that. So do you think you're finding the I forget how we're referring to that was it the jazz? What's the terminology that we don't get legally sued? Andy, what is that called?
I have no idea.
Forget about it. Anyways, I'll find it when we said it. But when you're reading your words that you're going through, do you find the jazz based off the tempo that you feel just is in the
Okay,
natural
sweet.
cadence, or you're just scrolling through some jazz?
That's a good. That's good that you said that, because there are poems that I'll read, and like I'll read them in my head when I'm going through what I'm going to record, and yeah, obviously there's the ones like, will this sound intentional? Will like the words that I say and the way that I say them sound intentional? And there's a lot of poems that I won't record because they don't come across that way. And not that I'm a very serious person, but the way that I read my poems maybe comes across that way. And like there are certain things and certain sentences that to me just don't sound right with what I'm trying to do. So I'll like cherry pick ones that I want to do spoken word for, because some are better left on paper and some are good for reading.
Awesome. Yeah. That answers my question. It's both. Yeah. But I think, again, the importance is that you're saying that with the way you like to, I'm going to use the word perform, your words, your work, your emotional, like, cathartic artistry, is that, I don't know, I forget it. I'm leading up, I forgot what I was saying, so listen.
Which one of us?
You know what it is? You're just so excited, Angela. You're just so super excited that it's just like,
I finally figured out when to talk, when not to talk, when to talk, when not to talk, and then I was like,
no, that happens to me. I think what happens is, especially with me, like I'm so excited that when I start talking, I feel like I think faster than I talk. I can't catch up, and it's like, crap, where am I going now?
Yep.
Oh, I do that too.
I've apologized to him so many times. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm acting like a chihuahua. I'm just so excited because I see the end first, and then I don't know how to get to the end, but that's how it comes in my head. Like, oh my God, it's so great, and we'll do that on Thursdays.
Yeah.
What are we doing on Thursdays that we're going to be talking about? Oh, and I remember, everybody. Here's the deep part: music. Adding the music to your performance, because watching movies. That orchestral thing. I played viola. Also, I forgot what I'm doing because I'm out of town. So it's like, this is awesome for me. First live, out of town. We're tripping. Like I can watch a commercial. And just the music alone, my eyes will start watering. So I think you were really hitting the nail on the head by saying you're choosing music that's really kind of pushing the feeling.
Well, the way it started was actually I recorded something. I did. Something of me reading something out of a book or something, and I found like a song, right? And I went to a video app I have because I make like little music videos for some of the spoken that I do, because it's just it's not so much the promotional aspect of it. It's just like there's a lot of theater and writing, right? So
it's a lot. Another creative.
So you want to make a video to encapsulate the feeling you have, other than just seeing your big dumb face reading the poem, right? Because like it's you know what I mean? Like,
my poems.
So I made one. I think it was Winter Bones. It was. And it didn't make it on the album because I want to re-record it because I didn't like how it sounded. And maybe. I think so.
Oh, the
once I record it.
Possible first single.
Hearing it first.
Yeah. Which, fun fact, put your face in here, is his noise label. So he has a noise label. They're going to put out cassettes of Volume 1.
Wow.
So if you want to talk about it, you can before I read this next one. You got to get it in the actual camera, though, bro.
Oh, my gosh. Please. And please send us a picture. We want to promote that.
This is Lennon. He's my son.
Hello. I do a lot of noise stuff. I'm a noise artist. I'm in a couple like noise projects, noisecore bands. But my friends and I run this noisecore label and like this noise, like grindcore, all the like quote unquote extreme music. And he hit me up. He texted me one day randomly. He was like, "Hey, you want to do this for this? And I was like, sure. I texted my friends, and they're like, yes, we're so down for this. Because we all have this.
Oh my gosh, I bet your friends.
Even my friends have like such like huge respect for his work and everything. So it's like,
oh, I bet. Oh my gosh, I bet.
you have a whole following, dude.
Dad in black, you know,
Yeah,
writing poetry and putting
they call me Scrad.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you guys want to follow him, this guy, he is Scronch _
Yeah, SCRONCH_.
Okay, come on.
ON
like, come on, SCR.
CH
What?
_
Okay.
And there's a lot of music, memes, and things like that, but a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And his noise stuff is awesome.
It's fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm pretty sure I misspelled it. So
Not a D, it's with a C. Scronch.
Yeah.
Okay, because I put out the whole wrong.
You did.
But, hey, it's my first time.
Two
doing this,
keys
so
tavern.
Right. We'll get it.
Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
It's a really cool
that's
tavern.
That's two botches right there, Angela.
I don't.
So yeah.
Am I going to get kicked out?
Did I get kicked out?
It's a G. It's not a G.
C.
It's a what now?
Scronch.
C is like cool. It was not. Yeah. Okay. Also, wait. Big important thing for everybody that's here or will watch it on the replay. Can you please define what noisecore is?
Oh shit! I'm gonna back out of this one.
I got it. Noisecore is.
Yeah, I need the expert.
This is my son, Lennon, by the way.
Yeah, again, my other introduction for the 5th time.
He's making cassette tapes. Cassette tapes are happening, so we gotta promote.
I have 2 noisecore bands. It's just grindcore with.
What the fuck is going on upstairs, bro?
It's grindcore with like added noise. So I'm in this one band, Goat Petter. And for one of our shows, my friend hooked up a microphone to a trash can and just beat the hell out of it during the set. And he became known as trash can guy. As, Ian the Goat. Yeah, shout out.
Good dude. He gave us a drum set that we have to hear every day.
Good job, Ian.
Oh man.
But it's noisy grindcore. It's just very sporadic. It's like you don't really expect. You don't know what's gonna happen. Like when Go Petter plays live, I'm playing tomorrow night. We don't plan anything. The first time I met the guys was when
that's tomorrow night.
Our first show was So
sorry guys.
when we first started playing, that was the first time I even met them, and it was just kind of it wasn't that good. It was me taking breaks. I was like, I don't know.
They don't practice. They just go to shows and play.
Like this.
It's insane, and it's awesome.
Like
it ends.
Wow.
It usually ends up with me on the floor.
But I think that's the most organic thing when it's like just off the fly like that. I think that's what makes it more organic and more interesting. Because it's like,
Can you?
Isn't that how? If I'm not mistaken, isn't that how the Germs started? Then they just started playing just because, and it just
yeah. The Germs.
Right, that's how they were, right? They didn't know how to play. I was watching this document. Well, it's actually a movie. I think Shane West, the actor, did a good job in playing Darby Crash, but he played Darby Crash in the movie What We Do Is Secret. That's the name of the movie, and I think he did a good job playing Darby Crash. But from my understanding, I even Googled it just to make sure because how movies are, they don't always get it 100% accurate. The same thing with There's certain things they didn't get accurately correct, but it's a whole other conversation for another time. But from my understanding is he they didn't know how to play instrument. They was just playing just to play, and then eventually it just became what their albums were, which wasn't even a lot. They didn't even do a lot of songs like that.
None of the Sex Pistols could play. You know what I mean?
Sid Vicious couldn't play bass to save his life. That's why they turned him down.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You can see that this is the best friend, the fucking ride or die, right?
Nice.
So
yeah,
everything
dude.
he's into was shit that I was into when I was his age.
He got me into. So one day he randomly gave me a pile of 7-inch records, and he's like, "All right, these are a bunch of like emo hardcore stuff that I used to listen to." And I'm like, "Okay."
Wow.
And in that pile was this record by a band called You and I, and that record kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like, and it became like my favorite band of all time almost. And I remember the first time I listened to it, I was actually sitting. I think it was in this basement. I was just kind of like sitting over the turntable.
You can get in,
and I was like,
duck all awkwardly.
I was blown away. I was like, this is kind of the best, most like authentic stuff I've heard. And you know, I talked to all the band members, and I was asking all these questions. I learned so much about that band, all the bands before and after, and it's just like this. It kind of helped. I didn't tell you this actually. This helped fuel my passion for like emo archival. So my friends and I worked together to like find lost bands, lost records, and like all this started from this one You and I record, because I was like, where do I find more like this? And it's crazy to think that.
Every parent's dream.
It's a cycle, you know?
Every parent's dream.
See, but now this goes back to what you said about music. See, like the fact is, like you're the reason he listens to what he listens to, but there's a story behind why he listens to it. Because my dad used to do this, and it's like a bond that you guys created, and that to me is beautiful.
The reason
that's such a beautiful thing.
You know, like that band You and I, he talked about. I'm friends with the guitarist, and but like,
there you
gotta help get him as a guest on the show, man.
I would go to those shows, and then like him being into these bands, it's so incredible to me because, like I said earlier, like it's cool to be able to like relive this shit through him.
I got you back into it, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
like you forget about the nuances of the music, and then when he's listening to it and he's like, "Oh, this song," and I'm like, "Holy shit!" It brings me back to when I was his age.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like it's crazy. It makes me feel old as hell, but it's crazy.
But you know what? I like the fact that, you know, at the end of the day, you never forget where you come from. I think we live in a society now that everyone forgets where they're from. Everyone forgets where they were because they're at a different place in their life. And it's like, I'm the kind of guy, I'm in a better place in my life, but I never forget where I came from. Yeah, I was poor. I lived in public housing. But music, wrestling, poetry, and just that got me through my childhood because I was pretty much sheltered most of my life until, you know, a certain age. But it was just like, those things got me through my childhood. Foo Fighters, Metallica, Drowning Pool, System of a Down. But then I also listened to a little bit of Grease and Footloose. Like, wait, what? That's an interesting playlist. But then I'm also listening to some Spanish music. But then I'm listening to Tupac and Biggie. But that got me through my childhood.
Oh,
and it's like I never forget where I come from because, you know, that's the way, you know.
I listened to Black Flag, Minor Threat, but then I also had the fucking 36 Chambers spinning. You know, like, you know,
Naughty by Nature was back in my day.
I know, but anybody who discounts Wu-Tang 36 Chambers is insane. It is one of the best fucking rap albums ever written.
It is.
Ever written.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think you would have had all those people if it wasn't for Wu-Tang, man. Wu-Tang Cream was my favorite song, I think. But that's because he was talking about real stuff. And then later on,
that whole album is, man.
Yeah, that's I think that's the point of the album. It's very authentic, and it's from the actual process of being, you know, like there at that time.
I'm sorry, you want to just tag him in your interview?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, you want to pull up a chair.
But this is why this is my boy right here. You know?
Yeah. Yo, this is so amazing, man. This is better than what I imagined, Angela. Like, I have no idea.
I just can't grow hair like that.
Yeah, no, you see this?
Even if I tried.
Wow. No, my hair's gone. That's it. I'm done, bro. Like, I'm done. Like, at least the beard helps me out a lot.
Yeah. I can barely grow that. I'm just using lighting that makes it look like it's there. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Otherwise,
There's
I
one
just like
poet,
a
though.
chin that things are coming out of.
Oh my god. There's this one poet, I think his name is the Godfather or something like that, and he has this long. I'm like, dude, how do you?
Yeah.
I think that's his name. I think his name is Godfather, I think. But he
It's like
spells
a
it different. He
Z.
doesn't spell it like father. It's like he spells it
Z-A-H. Like,
differently. But he has
yeah.
really long beard. I gotta ask him, like, yo, how do you keep your beard back? Because, you know, if it gets growing, sometimes, you know, it gets itchy. Like, for me, it doesn't itch me anymore. But I remember the first times around, I was growing hair, and I had to, you know, it was getting itchy, and then I started learning about these, you know, these shampoos or these, you know, moisturizers, whatever it is. But it's like
oils.
yeah, even that, and it's like there's this long, like he has this really long beard. I'm like, yo, how do you like maintain a beard like that? Like,
Dude, it took me 42 years to grow a beard, so.
See, like, I didn't do this until, like, once I shaved my head back in, I'm going to say 2015. That's when I officially said, you know, I'm going to shave my head because I'm really losing my hair. Had a bald spot here, had a bald spot here. I was like, take it off. And then I'll just keep the facial hair here, and I feel like this is where I found my signature, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're definitely right.
I shaved my face.
For sure. But wait, are you telling me I have to imagine?
I shaved my face a few months ago, and I walked in the house, and everyone's like, "What the hell did you do?"
Oh my god!
Clearly, my face is not acceptable to everybody unless I have facial hair.
Oh my god! I remember the first time I shaved my facial hair. My wife's like, "Okay, you're not my baby. I don't know who you are. Get out of here. Don't talk to me for a couple of weeks."
Yeah, like damn. Bro, like I grew this when I was with you. Like, accept me. I just have a little ass face if I don't have anything going on, and it just looks goddamn ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie.
God.
I gotta tell you this: when I shaved my beard,
I hope so.
Wow.
It is 2023.
Again, I'm pretending like I was joining the conversation.
Oh, my bad. So when I got these glasses, right?
That wasn't. Yeah. Yeah. So Andy, back to what we were saying here.
Yes, I do.
Poem for us
Let's do this.
All right. This one's called "We Lost the War." I wrote this one actually before everything happened. This was more. It actually goes back to the mental health thing we were talking about. I wrote this before I was on medication, when I thought everything was against me, when I thought like the whole fucking world was crashing down, you know? So, God damn it, there I go, being 12 again.
And that was your reality for sure.
But this one is "We Lost the War." We've lost the war. All right, yeah. It's, all right. This is the part of the story where our hearts break and bleed melancholy, like battery acid all over our hands with the lights down low and our eyes so goddamn heavy. This is the part of the story where we try to cry but only let out the faintest of sounds, breathing heavily like getting the wind knocked out of us at breakneck speeds while standing still. This is the part of the story where making love under night skies is just a fantasy made up by some hopeless romantic with a cigarette in one hand and drink in the other, preaching love with a suspicious mind. This is the part of the story where we admit that we've lost the war.
Wow.
Now, the suspicious mind was me being jealous before medication, right? Like, every thought that I've had was a thought that something was against me, and that I was doing everything right, but people were trying to fuck me, right? Until I took medication, and then you realize, like, I wrote this before I was medicated. So you can see, like, the difference between, like, where you are, where you know, mentally where things are, and then before where you think everyone's against you. Wow. Which is the amazing thing and part of the stigma about being medicated, is that people think it's going to make you a robot, but it gives you clarity.
Or if you're already taking medication and it's not working, it's okay to go back and reconfigure and try something else too.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
also I just want to put that out there too, because there are people. I mean, I gotta talk to you, man. We'll talk later, okay? Because like that's like a huge big deal. Like, and I know that Andy, we gotta kind of wrap.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I wouldn't mind doing a part 2 next week or
I'll come
something.
back.
'Cause I think this is
Yeah,
really
I'll come back.
Yeah, will you come back?
Yo.
I think everybody homework, go listen to volume 1 on Spotify. We're gonna get the lowdown on every.
But this is
You guys want to?
wow. No, because
I'll do it with you.
Where I'm so down for this. And okay, so we'll talk more after the show, after the live, and we'll see what we'll figure out next week. We should definitely do our part 2. It'll probably come out after episode 6. Because episode 6, I have a pre-recorded episode that has to. Because this one guy I interviewed already, he's been waiting for a while already. So after this episode, I have to release the next one. So most likely episode 7 or 8 or something. You know, I know I have other ones lined up that I have to sort out, but we definitely gotta record another one. This is really good. It's like one of those things now. We can't just end this conversation. We have to finish this conversation.
You let me know,
but
and I'm down.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I definitely want to make this point is the fact that like with the whole medication thing, because growing up I was on medication myself too, and it's hard when you're trying to prove no, I'm okay, and you have a parent, especially in Puerto Rican, not Puerto Rican, in Hispanic culture, especially my father, because he grew up like in the island. He didn't really know about Americanized culture like that. So it's like, oh no, whatever the doctor says is correct, and that's it. He knows what he's talking about. And it was like, I came from a time where we weren't really allowed to talk about our emotions or really talk about what we've been feeling. Like if we're depressed, that was really frowned upon. We weren't even allowed to talk about that. Oh no.
That was the house I grew up in before I left. Like the parents I talked about earlier. Even my son right here, we can't talk about what we're going through mentally. Because it's stigmatized even by my parents, which I don't talk to. It's like a thing that's not real. That's not real. Okay. That's not how you feel. You know what I mean? Like, and in episode 2, we can go more into that because I have a lot more to say about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, all right, cool. Because it's already been, and I gotta get up. I gotta be at work at 6 in the morning because it's like truck at my job.
Yeah, I didn't even.
But
I just want to say this for everybody out there, though. The message, though, Andy. I just want to say one last thing. Thank you, everybody who watched. This is my first time talking to Andy. This is our first time. Thank you for being our first guest as like this part of this new transition. But the message is that Arthur has been on the other side of where he was. And I think that's also important that we have people that are in the first part of where you were, where you're putting out that incredible art. But we also now get to talk to the guy who is on the other side, and we can all, we want to hear more about that.
Oh, my God.
You can always reach out to me. So, I'll answer any questions you have.
Yeah, so yes, definitely. So please reach out to our wonderful guest. I'm done talking.
No, it's all good. Oh my God!
The 5th one, I'm gonna be perfect by then.
So I will say this. All right, so I'm just like on cloud 9 right now, and I'll tell you why. Because between today and last night, because this is my second live back to back, and I was telling Angela, I was telling you a little bit about it yesterday, like because yesterday's live, I had Black Widow Poet. She was talking about her battle with breast cancer stage 3, and she was talking about how she was going through domestic violence, and it's like I told her too, like it was so overwhelmingly like whoa, like it was so crazy. I was like, oh my God, like I couldn't even imagine what she went through. And now us here talking about what we're talking about, it's like I love what we're doing, and I want us to continue growing on that, because again, there's so many stories that need to be told. This is why I was very intentional about rebranding to what it is now, Unraveled Influence, and just really pushing this podcast and really pushing these live. Yeah,
I'll tell you this. I don't mean to cut you off, but like I will never put the shit that I went through over that. So I think that you guys giving people a medium to discuss what they're going through is fucking huge. Because, you know, like the Black Widow poet getting to express herself with you last night, and then myself getting to do it with you tonight. It's not a question of like, wow, you went through this and you went through this. It's just the fact that you guys that are listening and that we're able to voice this shit to you, because, you know, it's cool that someone's listening and, you know, someone is taking the shit that we're writing that we went through and putting it into perspective. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that, like, my mental struggles are more important than her abuse struggles, because, you know, it's all relative. And it's fucking amazing that she was able to come on here last night and do that. And I commend that, because, you know, I don't know anything about that, because, you know, I've had my own shit. But the fact that she was able to talk to you about that is fucking huge, man. Like, you're doing
and I even told her after, I said, thank you for trusting me with that. Like, I even told, I texted her even after the live. I said, yo, thank you for trusting me with that, because that, you know, that's not something you just talk about just to talk about that. Even with you, Arthur, thank you for trusting us with your story, man.
You guys have very trusting faces.
No, thank you. I
My
appreciate that.
son actually wants to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really appreciate you guys giving people this platform to like open up about everything they've like written about and put into these words, because I feel like poets don't really get that much of a platform anymore. I feel like the digital age kind of silenced a lot, and you giving people this like you said, medium of like being able to express everything and talk about the emotion that went into these works. It's something really incredible, and I can't like thank you guys enough for, you know, having him on here, having everyone else on here. Like, it's amazing, and it's really something that should be appreciated more, because this is a great concept, and I'm looking forward to the, you know, future of this.
No, thank you. And that's really my intention, because I know what it's like to not have a platform. It's like,
I know, like.
That's why I'm very more intentional now, more than ever, like, to do this, like, you know, and I see this like long term, like, you know, until God decides to die or whatever. But
this is like, you know, if there's anything that I've bonded with him over more, it's the arts, whether it's music, poetry, or anything other. Like, this kid right here has been like my number one. So
it's like
him saying that to you guys means the fucking world to me.
I'm like, I gotta like walk out. Like, I almost like turn it off now. Like, you can't do anything more perfect than that, sir. I'm a high school teacher. Like, you're amazing. Like, we're 17. You're like, this is incredible. Like, proud pop for sure.
No doubt. And
and we're keeping
and
I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
And the good thing about this, like, once this live is done, I record the audio and then I put it on the platform, so it's available on Spotify, Google, Apple, Audible, Amazon Music, Pandora, Stitcher, and I'm just now getting into the YouTube aspect of it to put the stuff out there on YouTube and stuff. So my intention is just, let's get our stories out there, because like you said, I especially with me, I think with me is I've never been given that opportunity, but I want to give back. Okay, there's an opportunity to do this. I want to give back. If as I say, okay, if let's say we succeed, everybody succeeds. That's the way I see it. You know, we don't have this about.
I'm very happy that he came downstairs when he did. So
yeah.
Me too. He made this. He took away all the fuck ups over here.
Definitely.
So thank you for that.
That's the thing. This all started with just somebody reading my piece out loud through Poets of Mine. That's really how this all started. And to look back now, like, wow, it started from here, but now we're here. And it's like my confidence level has been on a whole different level in this way. Like, yo,
good. You're doing something great here.
Great. Yeah, this is.
And he came down right before I started crying, before the day before, after Christmas. So.
Wow.
I came down to
honestly, guys, like, I have so much respect for you guys, and again, thank you for just, you know, joining me in this journey with us
No,
doing this together.
I'm honored that you wanted to even talk to me about it. So, like, it's good. I'm glad that you listened to the album. You know, it's always weird putting something out into the world and not knowing how it's going to be received because it's not digestible music, if you will. You know, like, it's not fucking Rihanna or, like, any of that shit.
Right.
Like, I'm writing and I'm putting music to it. And spoken word is kind of a lost art. And
yeah, and I want to revive that. I want us all to just revive that back, man. We had something in 2019, 2020. It's like I want to bring that back, and we can all like just like Allen Ginsberg did it back in the 60s and the 50s.
Fuck yeah.
I want to get back to that. Like, has to, man. Words matter. It matters.
I'm telling you, there's going to be a renaissance with this kind of stuff because even if you look into the history of like noise music, spoken word was always a huge part of it. Even like post-rock, you know, spoken word has always been a big part of music, be it sampling or just, you know,
fucking father.
And just including it just to, I mean, it's kind of, especially in live settings, it's being able to project yourself to this crowd, these people that wanted to come out to hear you say something. And it's something beyond words, you know what I mean? It's like, people are coming out less for the words, more to hear you express what's going on. You know what I mean?
Which is the antithesis of going to punk rock shows, right?
Wow.
Like, if you like, the thing with poetry is that, is there anything more punk rock than poetry? You know what I mean? Like,
poetry is pretty.
We are writing what we're fucking feeling, whether it's contrived or not. You know what I mean? Like, there's obviously these people that write shit and like, you know, you're like, you didn't live that. But like, there's also the people that you read it and you're just like, fuck, you feel something from it. You know, like there are so many people that I've read poems from and I'm just like, shit, like I get it. You know, and it's like that kind of culture and that kind of like environment is something that needs to come back. That where people are like listening to somebody tell their side of the story and they're like, fuck yeah, like I've been through that. You know, like it's
because we're gonna connect on that human emotional
so
level.
one-sided.
You don't know what it means anymore.
Yeah.
We're all fucking pissed off.
Whether we're pissed off with anger, being upset, emotion, like it doesn't matter. Like we're all feeling it, and I feel like there's been a lack of that. There's been people that are just reading things because they think it's fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like it's like if I write about this struggle, it's cool and people will follow me. But
there's no resonation with it. It's like
it discounts the people that are really fucking going through it. You know, like myself or like yourself before you found Jesus, which is fine. Like, you know, you still went through it, or what you're going through right now. You know, like we've all been through it. It doesn't matter what helps us get through it. The one common denominator is that we're writing about it and that we're trying to help other people get through it. And that gets lost.
Yeah,
it does.
Like the relatability of stuff.
Harnessing your creative
We're
talent.
not writing because we're like, oh, this is going to be cool. We're writing because there's this little like emoticon that like says like we're going to help this person go through it. Like a lot of my writing, a lot of the writing when I was really fucked up and I was really like, you know, it's evident in the writing. It was just the hope that someone's going to read that and say, like, I'm not alone. You know, like somebody else feels this, and I don't have to go through this alone. Whether they knew me or not, if they read the poem and they felt something, that was worth it. And that's what I'm aiming to do with the spoken word, where it's like if you listen to this and you're like, holy shit, I felt that. But it's more effective now because there's a mood behind it. It's not just me, you know, putting words on paper. There's music behind it to support the feeling that I had when I wrote the poem. And that is what kind of gets lost when I'm promoting it, because it's just like, oh, it's spoken word, but it's more than that to me, because every piece that I write is a moment that I was going through something, and like every piece that I find to put behind it is because it helps push the point that I was going through something. Like We've Lost the War on the EP. It's got this very morose, like, emotional backing instrumental, because you're going through something, like. So I'm hoping people will listen to it and they get that.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
And that's their homework assignment before we do our part 2, because my first question when we come back for that is, are we going to go on it? Well, I'm going to find out myself, but I want to hear from you. Did you intend to make us go through an emotional journey through the process of the start to finish? That will be my homework assignment.
By all means, you can DM me and I'll answer any questions you have.
I will. And I got other questions too about a lot of stuff, but also this is Andy and I are going to be Friday night, not this Friday, but next Friday night at 9. We're going to be doing some poetry reading. So we are, because of your son, we're bringing back that medium. So like anybody out there or anybody watching on replay, or hey, if anybody new wants to write anything, I know Andy and I were looking.
Yes, I'm all hashtag from my old community page, jammed them down, which is crazy. I was like, yo, these hashtags are still around. I'm like, Angela, we have to read these hashtags. Like, there's hashtags there. I'm like, oh my God, like,
yeah,
because ever since this algorithm happened, it's like everything got lost with the stupid algorithm. So I guess my goal is to break the algorithm finally, and we can all just have a renaissance of just poetry and words, man. Like, it's just what it is.
Bring it back.
Yeah. So absolutely. That's what we were doing.
That's
Friday, next
the following Friday. I'll make an announcement. I'll put it and if you're cool, that's fine. I'll definitely tag people and stuff like that.
And I think people, if they should write stuff, if you want to send stuff our way, we'll definitely add on to it.
No doubt.
So if you're write anything from the album, if you're listening to spoken word, get inspired, want to write something, send our way for next Friday.
All right, sounds good. So, Arthur, thank you so much for doing this with me. This was such an amazing, powerful episode. This week alone has been like, wow, for me. And I thank you guys for that. Angela, thank you for joining me. This is her first live as far as being a co-host. This is actually her first live, so
and I've only ever got interviewed by Annie another time about.
Well, you've been.
I got my empty essential water bottle.
Bringing it back.
But guys, thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to all of this.
So let's definitely do a part 2. Guys,
please.
Thank you so much. I'll hit you up in the DMs.
Part 2. Everybody check out.
Yeah. It's going to be on Spotify. So this particular episode is going to be on, I'm going to upload it next week after I do Black Widow Poets episode, because I have the audio, I just have to upload it. So yours would be most likely sometime next week.
Does this go on Spotify?
Yeah.
Yeah, Spotify, Google, Pandora.
Okay, 1 second. I love my daughters too.
Okay, there you go.
Number one.
Awesome.
They listen to Spotify, so I gotta make
it. I'll send you the link and everything. I got you. Actually, if you go on my bio, the link tree thing, all the platforms I use is on there and everything. So
you guys have been fucking incredible. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my bullshit.
Hey, listen,
it's been great. But I'm also happy, and I never saw myself being an advocate for mental health, but at the same time, I never thought that I was going through something with my mental health either. So I appreciate you guys giving me this medium to explain my point of view on it, and to just listening to my shit. I appreciate it.
No, the fact that you're on the other side is so important.
It is.
So
yeah, got through it, and that's important.
We need
Yes.
we need more of your voices out
This
there.
guy saw me at my worst, and you know what? Where I am now, it's only made our relationship better, and you know, I feel great about my life now, and it's awesome. So thank you guys for letting me express that.
Yeah, I'd like to step in and say thank you. You know, once again, even I was in like the later half of this, but you know, I really appreciate this whole, you know, place of like speech. You know, it's really awesome to have that stuff that's not, you know, lost to the algorithm or just completely like kind of buried under everything else. And having people able to just like speak their piece on here and being able to like express everything they've battled and went through and, you know, wrote it down. I don't think anything should stop people from putting the pen on paper and writing about what they're going through. For people like you guys understand and will analyze it and will understand what the, you know, artist is going through. And you put so much care and effort into these episodes, and it's such a great listen. I'm going to be listening to this one.
Not just because he's on it.
No, because I genuinely enjoy how you guys interact, you know?
That's the way it should be, honestly. No doubt. So guys, thank you so much. I'll DM you guys in a bit. Again, Arthur, thank you for telling us your story. We should definitely do a part 2 for sure. We'll arrange that. Yes, next Friday, what's today? The 16th. So it's the Friday the 24th. Yes, we will go live at 9 p.m. and we'll be reading this old hashtag. Was it Jandom Sessions? Is the hashtag? I gotta look at it again, but I'll put all the details up and stuff.
We'll chat. And anybody, if you heard this and you want to send us some stuff for that too.
No doubt. So guys, thank you. God bless you guys. And,
thank you.
Well, stay tuned. All
right. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for this.
All right, no doubt, man. God bless you guys.
No, thank you.
All right,
take care.
Peace.